This week's episode of Sailor Moon Crystal is going back to the future. That's right, my friends. Sailor Moon and her friends are going to be traveling to the 30th century in order to save Chibiusa, the Sailor Senshi, and the entire universe. I hope when they get to the future, they're going to indulge in the finer things, like self-drying jackets, hoverboards, and Biff Tannen's shenanigans, which are only going to be replaced by the Black Moon Clan. You guys see where I'm going with this? Back to the Future, Power of Love, Doc Brown. You haven't seen that movie? You need to check it out. But this week's episode was honestly very simple. Basically, it's all the build-up to the big finale of Sailor Moon Crystal. The first half of the episode is pretty interesting because it's basically Chibiusa finally getting over her fear and asking for help from her only remaining friends in order to save her future life, her future family, and the future universe. Not only that, but we actually get a small amount of development between both Usagi Tsukino and Mamoru Chiba, otherwise known as Tuxedo Mask. And this scene is really interesting because finally Usagi's feelings have boiled over about how she feels about Chibiusa. She feels basically that she's jealous. She feels that maybe she's going to steal away all of her thunder and maybe even take Mamoru away. But Mamoru does eventually let Usagi know that that's not going to be the case, and they have a very nice, thinly veiled sex scene. That's what I've been told that it is. Apparently in the manga version, this was a sex scene, and they handled it quite tastefully in this week's episode, although I gotta admit, it kinda came out of nowhere. But still, that leads us to the next part of the episode. We are formally introduced to the newest member of the Sailor Senshi, and I don't even know if we can call her the newest, because she's technically been around for quite some time, apparently, but it's Sailor Pluto, and she's awesome. She's the mistress of space and time. I especially love her design. She hasn't even really done anything aside from just sort of like act as a surrogate mother to Chibiusa and help her out in her crazy time traveling, even though she didn't want her to time travel whatsoever. But the scene is nice. There's a really great reunion between these two characters, and it's when they finally do arrive at the future kingdom is when you get to see that things are really messed up. All the citizens are laying in the street, all mummified and nasty looking. There's this giant freaking black crystal just hanging out in the background, which has completely enveloped everything. Not only that, but we also seem like we're going to start seeing the future versions of some of our favorite characters, such as Neo, Queen Serenity. You add Neo in front of it, it makes it sound all futuristic. You also, I guess, have the Neo Prince Endymion, or maybe he's King Endymion, because it looks like it's the king and the queen of this future. It's really only a matter of time before we get to see how this is all going to unfold, but of course, we get a little bit of action at the very end of the episode, where it almost seems like all of the Sailor Senshi and Tuxedo Mask are going to be trapped in carbonite, but luckily they're able to finish off these goons, and particularly these two twins who don't do anything. They basically are just there to be, we're evil, and then they end up just getting killed anyway, so really nothing special from them. Obviously, this episode is going places really quick, and I really think this is one of the few episodes they probably could have divided into two, maybe just to give a little more development for the character of Sailor Pluto, who seems like she's a really awesome character. She's very old and wise, and she's been around for a long time, and if you guys want to see a very funny Sailor Pluto video, I'm going to put that in the description box below. It might even change how you feel about the character altogether. Otherwise, this was just an okay episode of Sailor Moon Crystal. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Sailor Moon Crystal? It was a pretty fun episode. I'm just glad that we're finally getting into the climax of the series, and it seems like this story is infinitely more competent than the first arc of the series, and it's a shame that it's already getting ready to come to a close. It actually amazes me that it's taken this long to get to this point, but, this is a bi-weekly anime series. It just surprises me that I've almost been reviewing this show for nearly a year. I mean, we're getting pretty freaking close to that moment, and really, we're only on episode 19 right here, but I'm really excited to see what they're going to do. I mean, really, it's obvious they're going to, get all the other Sailor Senshi back, and they're going to end up fighting against the Black Moon Clan, but I'm hoping there is going to be another twist of some kind. The biggest thing about this week's episode, though, aside from the whole Sailor Pluto going into the future thing, is that one moment between Usagi and Mamoru, because that could have been, like, a real long, dragged-out scene, super cheesy, and just not the type of thing that I care for, but they got it out of the way really quick, they squashed that part of the story, and they basically let you know, hey, this isn't really the time for this anyway. We have got people to save and universes to save, so this is up for the superheroes. So this was a pretty decent episode. It didn't blow me away like I was hoping it would, mostly for the first half of the episode. It was a little slow, but when they finally started getting into all the future and all that other crazy stuff, it started getting pretty exciting. So I'm going to give this week's episode a 3 out of 5. Pretty average episode of Sailor Moon Crystal, but then again, the whole series is pretty average. But if you are a Sailor Moon fan, if you've been reading the manga version, if you watch the old Toonami freaking cartoon, or the original Japanese version, or any of the 1,000 spin-offs, check out this show. You're probably going to see something you like. So check it out, Sailor Moon fans. Pretty good one. Thank you guys for watching my review. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And before you guys leave, please tell me what you thought about this week's episode of Sailor Moon Crystal in the comments section below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you have not already. That way you can see all of our latest anime and manga reviews. Spring anime season just started. A lot of big new shows are coming. I'm reviewing the brand new Fate Stay anime, Seraph the End, and this other one called Kekai Senshin. I'm going to watch that later today. And there's a few other ones that are going to be popping up, so stay tuned for the channel for that. It's going to be really, really exciting. Make sure to also follow us on social media like Facebook and on Twitter. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby.